Alright, so today is November 1st of 2023, and it marks the 3-year anniversary of when I started work on the boat. Now, I actually started building this building, the middle of the summer, August, whatever, of 2020, but I didn't start working on the keel until the first week in November of 2020, and then I had a 6-month delay. So I've actually put about 2.5 years of work into the boat so far. And we have another 2.5 left? I hope not. I hope 1.5 years will do it. But as you can see here, we got a couple more panels in here. And I know this looks a little odd here now. But what was happening here was this part of the hull was getting over 4 feet. So I would have had a little thin tapering strip right here that tapered to nothing. That tapered to nothing right here. So we don't want that. So we're cutting a piece out and gonna put a piece in this big opening here. And then starting here now, I know this looks odd too because it looks like my plywood's running way up, and it is, but that's because the boat gets way taller up here than it is back here. So from here forward, we're staying on the same line up there. We're staying on the shear line, and we're going to continue that all the way to the bow, and then we're going to have to put progressively larger pieces in here as we go forward. So we'll get the full sheets, the 4-foot sheets put in, and then I'll start working on these smaller sheets, I suppose, as I'm working on that, as I've got a little extra time or area space to work in. But yeah, it's slow going. It really takes 2 days for this epoxy to cure. When I put a coat on, wet, put the fiberglass cloth on, put another coat on top of it, saturate it out, and then it really takes 2 days because I really need to clean that up and sand it a little bit before I put the next coat of epoxy on. So it's taking 3 or 4 days to do a sheet. So I may not even get 2 sheets a week done here, but it's going to be what it's going to be. And I'll start doing some other things in addition to this. I was going to show you something else. I did a little test of this glue, this adhesive, this PL Premium. And this was some of that 1/2-inch plywood that was glued to a piece of treated Douglas fir, not treated, but the stuff I applied copper naphthenate to. And as you can see, it either completely broke the plywood. I put it in the vise here and just bent it over and did that several times, and I broke it in several places. And then the last place to go, oops, I guess would have been this way, would have been this piece here where it was real short up here, of course, and it tore the plywood apart. And yeah. So it's pretty good stuff. And I've also been testing it in water. I've got some pieces of it I glued up, some plywood glued up to, I think, other pieces of Douglas fir. And I've got it sitting in this bucket, just soaking, and it's been in there for 3 weeks. And it's not letting go in the least bit. It's not showing any signs of degradation whatsoever. And that's that PL Premium, so yeah, it's working well. And we're just going to leave it there for months on end and see what happens to it over the long haul. But yeah, we're making progress. It's like I said, it's just slow going, and it's going to continue being that way because with epoxy curing, I just can't get it done really much faster. So I've been doing some other things. This here is going to be the door to go into the forward cabin. And what this is just a piece of 3/4 inch oak plywood. And I put some 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch trim on here, or solid oak trim around the door. And I glued and then used my brad nailer to attach that. And like I said, these aren't going to be perfect. They aren't going to be, this master craftsman cabinetry type of thing, but should be sufficient. I got the other side I need to sand down. Plywood's just not quite a pure 3/4 inches thick, so it's leaves a little lip on here, and I got the other side to sand down yet. But anyway, that's something else I've been working on. again, whenever you're talking about gluing things up, and then you got to wait for it to dry before you can work on it, and then applying finishes too, you know, you got to wait really a day between coats of finish. I'll probably use polyurethane on those since it's interior stuff, but yeah, you got to wait for them to dry and then sand them, and then you really don't want to be kicking up a lot of dust. So that's why I've got that way up there. Hopefully any sanding or cutting and stuff that I do back here on these sheets of plywood, I won't get too much dust. If it gets too bad, I'll just have to wait with putting the final finish coat on until it's until I'm not doing sanding or cutting or anything in here. But yeah, this sheet here we just put on today, and John was over and helped me. And what I did here was I made a little bracket, a couple of these actually. And I just screwed these in. We kind of got it in position as best we could, and I screwed these in here to help hold it in place, which that helps a lot too. Now that I got a little real estate here to work with, I can do that. Where before, when I was putting them coming out down here, I couldn't quite put them precise because this angled up and would hold the plywood up off the edge a little bit. So I kind of had to leave this hanging down a little bit and hope for the best. And then I wound up shivving them up to get them in there. But yeah. So I forgot to put my copper naphthenate on before I put this plywood sheet on. Yeah, I don't think it's probably going to hurt anything, but oops. Then of course here I put glue on here, forgetting that I had this cut out here, and I had to scrape all the glue off. So yeah, wasting that expensive marine adhesive. But yeah, I don't know, not much else to report. I'm gonna have to, probably get another sheet in here, and then I'm gonna have to start working on this up here, getting this down to where it needs to be. This all needs to be planed or ground down or whatever to make that transition from the plywood to the fiberglass cloth, that 1708 fiberglass cloth. And I've been doing a little more filling and sanding down here too, although I don't do just a whole lot of that because that's not a lot of fun to do, but it needs to be done. So you can see here I've sanded a bunch of this down and got most of this filled. There's a little bit up in here that needs to be done yet. Probably one more set of filling, and I'll have this all filled, all the screw holes down here filled. But yeah, so we'll just keep pecking away at it. I don't think I got a whole lot else to. Well, yeah, my cutlass bearing housing, they call them stern tubes, but it's not really a stern tube. It mounts back here. That came in to my dealer or distributor from the foundry, but the bearing inside is not here yet, so I told them just to wait with that until they both came and get those shipped out. And then once I get those in here, well, actually this aft one is the one that I really need to get in, I guess. Once that's in, I can determine my shaft length. And once I get the shaft length determined, I can go ahead and order my shaft and my propeller, which, yeah, that'll be kind of a big deal because it's actually gonna, it's got a propeller on the back of it. Hey, it's a boat, right? Yeah. Yeah, once all the plywood's on, the thing would float, and got the engine in it, and if we had a shaft and a propeller in it, we could actually move. Well, rudder wouldn't hurt, but yeah. So anyway, that's where we are on the 1st of November of 2023.